We're live. We're
There
not.
we go. I see it now.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see.
I love
for it
this.
to come up.
I love this. Yeah.
There it is. All right. Let me mute this because I don't want it twice. There we go. Got it. I
There
feel
we
so
go.
grown up. I got you.
I love like you and I are talking in the one window, and then everything that we just did is then showing itself in the other window with my split screen. And
I know.
that just cracks me up because we do so much work with multiple timelines. So to have it in our faces.
Deja vu. Yeah, I told you about the YouTube channel I came across that talked about it, where you actually go into the future and it happened and you come back and it made such an impression that you remember it in the past life. And it's just one of those things that my head's still going round and round trying to figure out to properly explain, but it was really, it was definitely a unique view on deja vu. So
yeah.
once I get a better grip on how explaining it, we'll have an evening chat about it.
Yeah. Well, I know when I go to visit my parallel lives, sometimes they're doing things that I've already done. And so I get to just like hang out and experience it again. I'm like, wow, they did it so much. Or, again, when I'm writing, I'll visit a parallel life that's already written what I'm working on. So I can just like copy them.
Just grab the book and bring it back.
I kind of do. In a way, I kind of do. But when I was in Greece, when I lived in Greece, I was 13. And we went to the city of Mistra, which is a northern city with the Pyrenees Mountains behind it, like mountains. And the city was way up at the top of a mountain with plateaus going up to it on the front half, but the back half was a sheer cliff. Oh, wow. And this was like the most northern border city of Greece. Because you couldn't attack from the north. It was a sheer cliff. And then the south facing, it was so well protected that they could be, what is it called when they're like putting the city to siege, and so no one can go in, no one can go out. They could survive for years that way, no problem. They were so well set up.
Yep.
That's the city that Alexander the Great's father, when he came down and invaded Greece, they did climb up the cliffs. And once they took Mistra, the rest of the country fell.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
So we're there. And my friend Jerry and I, there was a whole group of us. There was a large group of us. It was a school event. So we were there on a field trip. And I remember Jerry and I, like, I'm walking around with deja vu. I'm like, I know this place. I'm walking into rooms and I knew what they were. Oh, and then I ran in, like all the other kids, they're playing tag and climbing and whatever. I saw Jerry and he and I looked at each other and I realized he also had the same deja vu. And he said, I lived here. And I said, I lived here. And then I said, did you go in the kitchen? He's like, yeah, it's over there. Did you go there? And we're like, did you go here? Did you go there? And then I'll say to him, I'll meet you at the whatever room. And he'd go one way, I'd go another way. And we'd run through this place we'd never been before. And we'd end up in the right place. Like we knew this place. And anyway, the story goes on and on. But that was a deja vu because we had both had past lives there.
Yeah, I had it down further south. Over in Athens when I was stationed there. I was walking around. Leo says, Happy New Year Eve and New Year's tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, Leah, call me tomorrow because I keep forgetting to call you, but I have been sending PranaShakthi every day, like we talked about. I just forgot to tell you I was doing it. Sorry.
Just bombarding your house. It's a small thing,
But Leah knows what I'm talking about. I promised I would do something with her, and I've been doing it on my own, and I've been forgetting to call for us to do it together. But you were saying you were in the South.
Oh yeah, I was down in Athens. And I felt that way when I was walking around, and it just it felt like home, right?
Yeah.
It was a really nice experience. I really liked it down there. I want to go back. There's a few islands out there I didn't get to go to. So I got to go to Santorini, which we talked about.
And we'll go to.
Yes, yes. I also went to, is it Meteora? Where all the, what are they called? Not cathedrals. The nuns and the priests.
The monasteries and convents.
Monasteries, thank you. Yes. And I'll tell you what, those people were in some damn good shape, because you had to hike like a quarter to a half mile up these stairs, and the stairs were only about this big, but they're about this deep. So those people were in really good shape. And once you got up there, you didn't want to come back down. So
yeah.
But the views
some of those
breathtaking.
Ruins in Greece have thousands of stairs.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And they're not evenly spaced.
Yeah. But you know what's weird is, right, it's like little stuff like this, and then you have that big iron foot that inside your armor. But what's weird is, even back then, the Greeks were burning incense and whatever to help set the mood in the house, or to clear the house, or doing rituals, and different incense were for different things. Like Apollo had its own, Aphrodite had another one. So it was just kind of weird how even way back when people were using incense, and they were thinking about clearing their house. And besides using, they had scent, they had smell, or scent, air, what was it? Fire, visual, because you had the evil eye, right? Would keep evil at bay, which they had them throughout the house. So there were just a whole bunch of different ways to cleanse a house, even back then.
Yeah.
Which leads into our topic today.
Okay, so you guys, Kim and I did our first house clearing together. We've both done this. I mean, Kim and I've actually, I was counting, we've known each other for over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've both done house clearings and space clearings before. We did our first one together, which was really fun because Kim was there in person, and I'm here at a beach house in Florida. Kim's in Virginia. I was working distance.
Yeah.
Some of my work was while Kim and I were either, video chatting or phone talking, and some was just, okay, let me take a break, meditate, and we'll meet up. Kim set up equipment, monitoring equipment.
Yep.
And she got some freaky stuff.
Oh man. So well, some of it was just your normal, like what they call poltergeist type of activity, right? You have knocks, you have things moving, you hear banging, nothing, threatening. It's just, hey, did you hear that knock on the wall? Or those kind of things. There are some neighbors that went where I was at. So, not saying all the noises were this, but, I'm willing to go 50-50 on the noise, right? Half of the neighbor, half was spiritual. We did get some.
No neighbors would be that loud, that consistently.
True. But I'm erring on the side of caution for the saying not it's all 100%. It's just, we do have outside factors, right? So sometimes, it's just like, okay, hell, I'll even go 90-10. If you want 90% real, from real life, I still have 10%, right? So, whatever number.
But I'm just saying, some of those where it's obvious, it's just like a knock, a break, a knock, a break. That would not be a neighbor.
No, right? Agreed. But some of the other bang noises was like, you heard it, but you couldn't tell where it came from, but there was no other noise associated. So it's like, did the neighbor drop something next door? So.
But what got me was your audio recording taken in the middle of the house where there was no one around. Yeah. And there was a person speaking on the audio recording. What got me even further was there's like a lot of static noise, which is also weird in a silent house.
Yeah.
Like a recording device just recording nothing will record nothing. But that was a lot of static, and the voice sounded really quiet, but very clear. So you guys, I put this in my sound mixer to try to reduce the static and increase the volume of the person talking. And my sound mixer, you know, it shows like the lines of every single type of sound. You could hear the person talk, but it did not acknowledge it as an actual data point. So there was no way for me to increase the volume. Even though I could hear it, I'm like, I hear it, come on, program, I hear it, just make it louder. But while it recorded all the static and stuff as data points, it did not acknowledge the voice as a data point for me to go and fix it. So I'm like, spooky person talking in the middle of an empty house, you know, except for Kim at the far other end looking at some equipment, and recording equipment will not acknowledge it. The other thing is Kim sent me this recording to my phone. And when I tried to play it on my phone shut off.
It did more than shut off. It fried
and it broke. It fried my phone. I went to, and it's a brand new phone. Like I got it a couple of days before. So I went to the phone store and gave me a brand new phone. They're like, we're so sorry we gave you such a bad phone. Here, have a better one. Yeah.
And the kicker, the voice on the EVP sounds like me. Mm-hmm. That's the kicker of this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wasn't sure if you'd want to share that because.
Yeah. You know, that part, that's the whole kicker, right? And so maybe somebody else has had an experience like that. I haven't. I've done years of ghost hunting, shall we say. And I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot, even the one of the nasty voice saying, "Get out." But other than me actually physically speaking, I have never had my voice sent back to me on an EVP.
No. So we're not sure if there's another Kim in another timeline also clearing the house, or if another Kim in another timeline is trying to talk to this Kim.
I'm haunting people.
Or Kim even said, you know, sometimes unpleasant entities will imitate you. So maybe it was someone imitating her.
I didn't get a bad feel from the house, though. That was the weird part, right? Because normally when you walk in, and anybody who's walked in or been around somebody of, the only way to describe it is sheer evil, right? Or dark, right? Because it's hard to explain. But when you get around this type of person or entities, you feel it and you know it. And you're like, I just want out of here. And I didn't have that, right? So that's why it was really, I was kind of dumbfounded I'm listening to myself. What am I saying? You know, is it the lottery numbers? Because, you know, I'm totally for that. But yeah, it was kind of weird. So
it was a very active house. There was a lot of activity. And we were told this activity has been increasing lately.
Yeah.
So what we did, because this person did not want the spirits like banished to hell, or like, she just didn't want them in her house, but she didn't want to harm them because they weren't malevolent.
Right.
So since I am a PranaShakthi Master Teacher, which is a Hindu form of bringing in, Leah's one of my PranaShakthi students too. She's really good at it. Bringing in love, the purest form of love from all frequencies of all dimensions and all beings of love. And it flows through. And it's, I'm trained in creating, it's not space protection, because whenever you're trying to protect yourself, you're putting a wall around you, you're blocking things. And as we all know, whenever we put a wall of protection around our heart, like, oh, I got brokenhearted, I'm going to protect myself, all you're doing is blocking love. There is so many modalities towards healing us from the walls we create. With PranaShakthi, you bring in pure love. And I mean, go ahead. You don't have to practice PranaShakthi to invite pure love in.
Right.
Any of us can do it. This is a specific, powerful technique, that I'm trained in. And you learn to connect this love to specific landmarks in the house and build a glow of love that goes way beyond all property lines, so that anything that comes to it it either goes away or it becomes a being of love. Only love can come through. Only love can exist here. So we spent, like 4 days, I think, just keeping this going, and while Kim was monitoring. And then I got sidetracked and didn't. But we weren't planning on keeping it permanent.
Right. But the activity did go down while it was going. They said that, it did go down and it was real quiet in the house, that kind of thing. And then when you got sidetracked, some noises started coming back. So it's now it's time to get, like, I think you were talking about it today, about getting a shaman in or something to see what exactly it is and see if any fissures need to be closed up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There is
now,
hope.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone in and done house clearings where I need to create portals and bring it, like, sometimes you got to get create grids and networks and mandalas and bring in ancient spirits. Like, sometimes house clearing, the goal really is not to harm the beings that are there.
Right.
But to send them to a place where they can heal and return to the beings of love they once were before they went down a path. So, sometimes, because if you just banish them, all you're doing is saying, hey, soul-sucking baddie, you can't get to be here, go over there. You have to do something with them. And you're not going to send them to the most foul pit of hell, because that will either make them worse or it'll make them happy. Yeah, the goal.
Hopefully it makes them happy, but according to some, there is no heaven, there is no hell, right? There's just the afterlife.
Yeah.
Which is a series on Netflix, just saying. But anyways.
Is it good?
So I've watched the first episode, and if you ever seen the Mel Brooks movie, oh my God, it just went out of my head. It's got Meryl Streep and I can't remember the guy's name. Anyways, Mel Brooks movie, they both die, and they are in a life review to see if they go back to Earth or they get to move on.
I am looking it up.
And oh my God, that is a great movie.
Little Door Gods?
Nope.
No.
Mel Brooks, Meryl Streep in a Mel Brooks.
Your life.
That's it.
Defending your life.
If you get anybody who's listening, if you get a chance, watch it. It is funny. It's great. It also reminds us that, we're here to have an experience. And I'm not saying, jump off a cliff without a parachute to see if you'll bounce and live. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about. Right. But if you're thinking about, hey, maybe I want to, because I do want to skydive. I want an instructor. I want to be strapped to an instructor. I don't want to learn so I can do it myself. Right. But I want to have that feeling because I'm afraid of heights, but I learned to rappel and it was amazing, so it's just kind of, I want to do it, but it's like some things, try not to let fear get in the way of some things, right? That's kind of where that is, but it's got a good message. It's a cute movie. Meryl Streep's in it. So, I mean, come on, it's not that bad. And she's actually pretty good as a comedian. So it's complicated.
She's Meryl Streep. She's amazing. Yeah. So you were saying though about, yeah, some people believe in afterlife, some people don't. It doesn't matter if remember, if there is a being, whether they're in 3D or if they are non-physical, and
Right.
they're purposefully causing harm, either they are like psychotic or something, or they're hurt. Either way, you want to get them away from where they are and what they're doing to a place where they can be helped.
Exactly.
Yes. I am
Exactly.
trained in this kind of house clearing, of making sure whomever is, running around trying to like murder the poor humans who just bought their dream house or whatever, that all of these beings are taken to a place where they can be helped. And portals are cleared and like everything is healthy. That's the goal, healthy.
So my training is a little different. It's I use my magic wand here, and I open a portal and tell them to go through it. It's the destination of wherever they want to.
Ramos.
Yes, right. Disappearance.
Expelliarmus.
But so yeah, that's how I was trained, and these are definitely lessers. If you go on the whole hierarchy, right? But yeah, it's like, hey, here's we're opening up the door, and if you want to cross over, it's going to take you wherever you need to go, and it'll be open. And you used to do it for like 12 hours, right? So it's not you have 15 minutes to make a decision. You have some time. And hell, bring your buddies in, let them go too, right? So anybody in the area that could see it, if they wanted to cross over because maybe they missed their portal, they could walk through it, and then it would naturally self-close. So we did a lot of that kind of crossing over of people. So, but yeah, that's, the beginning stages, like, hey, hitchhike, bus, kind of like the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, right?
Oh, I forgot to record up till now.
Awesome.
Every freaking time. Yes. Yeah. No.
I even reminded you before we got on. When you said we're live on YouTube, I said, okay, you hit the recording, and you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So you know what? Sorry, guys, you missed the first 20 minutes or whatever.
No, it's going to be on YouTube. It's just later when I try to download and edit, it's easier if I.
Oh, okay. I see. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
I'm just once again making life hard on myself. So
that, or the universe doesn't want our secrets known. I kind of go with that one. It sounds better, right?
Right.
The universe unstopped the recording because it didn't want the stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, in the world of unstop and stop the world, I want to get off. Oh my God, the fact that we lost Betty White today.
Oh my God, I know. I'm really sad about that.
Yeah, and that is not a good omen. Like anyone watching, Betty White has been alive your entire life, and she has been making the world better your entire life. She's been a hero of mine for as long as I can remember.
So on YouTube, go look up Saturday Night Live, Betty White, Dusty Muffins. Oh my God. My muffins haven't had a cherry since 1959. And she says it with a deadpan face. It's great. So yeah, gotta see it.
Betty White won an Emmy when she hosted Saturday Night Live.
Yes, she was 88 years old. She was the oldest host. The internet voted and kept pressuring Saturday Night Live, so they finally did it. I'm glad, because she deserves it. She has done so much in her life, from silent movies to radio to black and white talkies, which is what they used to call them back then, and to regular day colored movies.
And TV. She had her own TV show.
Yes. Yeah.
She had
and then also
several TV shows that were hers, including she had one where after in her, like when she was like 90, where senior citizens, old retired actors played practical jokes on young people.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah, she had a wonderful career from A to Z, and I didn't realize how funny she was just as a person, right? Just, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the fact that Betty White doesn't even want to go near 2022, honestly, I think it's good that we're doing that. We had already planned on doing today, to say the techniques we use for space clearing are similar to the ones that I use for energy clearing, for life path clearing. And I'm like, if we're going to go forward, let's go forewarned and forearmed.
Well,
so show us some of what you got there. You set up a great show and tell.
Yeah, actually, I brought some of my trinkets, right? So, well, Seraphonite helps repel negative energy. They also call it angel wing. It's one of my favorite stones. Well, you also have my wand. It's a Harry Potter wand. Yay! Oh yeah, she was good in the Mary Tyler show too.
Oh yeah.
And I was bummed to see that she didn't get her own spinoff. The other one got a spinoff. I could see. Yeah.
And also Rhoda.
That's the one, Rhoda. Yeah, Rhoda got a spinoff. Phyllis went with Rhoda. Yeah, I really thought Betty White, but
Phyllis got her own spinoff after she went with Rhoda.
Did she?
Yeah, it was called Phyllis.
I don't remember that one. I remember her being in Rhoda, but not so.
Yeah. No, it wasn't long lived, but it was very clever.
Okay.
And yeah.
Things you learn. So yeah. We'll teach you about movies next week. No. So a couple of my favorite things are sage. You guys have probably seen this one more. This is usually how, when people buy sage, it's all bundled up and everything. It's great. Sometimes you can get what they call wild. This is white sage. The only difference is they just grab it, dry it, and throw it together. Where here, this sometimes is a little process to get it together, and the sage is a little thinner.
Yeah, the white sage doesn't have as resiny a smell when it burns.
Right. Yeah. But the good thing about sage is when you sage the house, it actually is scientifically proven to clean the air. So it'll help you breathe a little easier. Just, just don't smoke yourself to death while trying to clean your house, right? Open the windows. But
what was it you were saying? Like I said, burning sage, like I do sound clearing and crystal clearing rather than sage clearing, because it always afterwards smells like an ashtray. And you said,
to me, it smells like pot, sheep pot. I'm from California, know the difference, but but it does. It smells like it's like either somebody saging their house or they're getting high. It's one or the other, right? So either way, it's an enjoyable smell. So I'll just, if it's wafting in the air, I'll partake.
So Kim and me walking into a sage house together, I'm like, oh, who's been smoking? Clean your air. And Kim's like, something good is happening.
It'd be like, okay, I know they saged it. That's not weed because you're bitching, but something that's a lot of people do this because they like the smell as incense, right? They like the candles, the incense, whatever the case is. This is just, I got it when I was in Norway. It's Nag Champa, and I don't know, it's got some other something in it. I just love the smell of it. So it's one of my favorites. And then the last thing I use is, this is a candle, a little candlelight. It's selenite. They also call it satinite. So it could go by either one. And the idea behind it is once it's heated up, it helps draw the negative energies, and then it dissipates it with the heat. Not to be confused with the, was it the Himalayan pink salt that heat up and they clean the air. It's just the salt has to get warm in order to do that. And when you use it properly, the salt will actually disappear over time because it's actually doing what it's supposed to. So
yeah, I had a lot of selenite, Himalayan pink salt, and shoot, what's it called? The black stone. What's wrong with my brain? Anyway, at my wellness center, you may recall some of the rooms had it lining. I had a shelf
Yeah.
going all around the ceiling, and I
Obsidian.
had, obsidian. No, not obsidian. It'll come to me later. We'll be talking about something else, and I'll randomly shout out the name of a stone.
So you also got onyx, because hematite is a silver gray. Then you've got onyx black, you've got jet. Jet's really light in its ocean, so it's not really a grounding energy stone like damn, I just lost that word too. All right, we're not supposed to talk about it, so we'll move on to
But before we do, I want to say, smudge spray, what's it smell like?
it smells good. I like it, but again, everyone's a little different. Let's see.
So it smells like pot,
right? So this is a proprietary blend. So it's got honestly, right off of it, I would recommend, though, I love this, and when I travel, I take this with me and I smudge my hotel rooms with this. So ingredients: water, proprietary blend of medical grade essential oils, holy water from around the world, sacred site essentials from around the world, and Bach flower essentials. But I take this everywhere I go and I travel, just because I walk around and I smudge the room, and it smells nice. It's light, it's fluffy. If I remember, it's like sage, cedar, and something else. But it's nice.
My stepdad and I, during the COVID, we watched so many documentaries. We were watching a bunch about the scientists, the archaeologists and anthropologists who are doing the tombs in Egypt. And in one, they went into some tombs that no one even knew existed, and they found like a lot of great stuff in it. Immediately, once it was open, even though there was a long tunnel, immediately everything started getting moldy and degrading, mostly getting moldy from outside air coming into this place that had been enclosed for thousands of years. But in there, they found something that was very special. There was a bowl that had accidentally been left behind that had a little of the resin of the embalming liquid. So they took it to a laboratory, analyzed it, and they were able to find the exact recipe that the Egyptians had used for their embalming fluid. They made a modern version of it, and they went in and sprayed everything in the room, and everything stopped molding up. Everything became pristine again. And it was like rosemary, cedar. We were very surprised when we looked at the Trader Joe's sanitizing fluid. It was like almost all the same ingredients, except what you're buying with this big bottle from Trader Joe's is like 99.9% water with a few drops. So my stepdad and I were calling like archaeologists, trying to like confirm the recipe so that we could make it ourselves for like anti-COVID spray. We were going a little nuts. And we did make a really good spray. It was very effective. But when they were doing their regular sanitizing, modern day stuff, it was slowing the mold and the degradation, but it wasn't stopping it. But when they used this, it stopped it completely.
Wow.
So what you have in there, and I'm sorry, I'm just yammering on, but in support of what you were just saying.
Yeah, no, I love it when I go in. It always makes me feel better. Plus, I also tell the universe to get me a non-haunted, non-preoccupied room that's clean. So, I set parameters up. You gotta.
Yeah. Now, when I was in Mexico, incense is big there, very big. Because keep in mind, like where I go to in central Mexico, it's very Catholic, but it's still very indigenous. Both worlds exist together for these people. So they will pray to like earth gods and Mother Mary in the same prayer. So incense, super big. And the number one thing I see in all, when you go in the open air markets, and almost every shop has a basket full of boxes of incense for sale, the number one incense I have seen again and again is marijuana incense. And I'm like, why you're not smoking? Like, I asked them, does this get you high? And like, oh, no, it's just the smell. I'm like, why? And they said, well, suppose you're a student, you're studying very hard, but you still want to be cool. You burn this incense in your room so that people think you're cool, but you get your studying done. So that's my incense story.
Well, when I was a kid, actually, I didn't get into incense until my 30s. Used to, yeah, really didn't, which is kind of weird. A friend introduced me and I was like, this smells really good. I like it.
Yeah. I generally burn Palo Santo wood or incense rather than the sage, but that's a personal preference. They all work. Now, some of you all have asked me lately about how to protect your space. And I'm not getting into like the politics of COVID or anything like that. We're not talking about protection from COVID. So please do not say, all I need is Bonita's prayer and I'm good. Please don't do that. Whatever safety parameters you put them to the fullest extent, because it's crazy out there. These are additional because it's mind, body, and spirit protection, and when you're feeling crazy entities are attracted to you. When you're feeling depressed, depressing entities are attracted to you. When you feel like a victim, victimizing entities are attracted to you. And that makes it so much harder to be a person of goodness and joy and planetary healing. My dog is barking, she agrees.
Does she see a vampire? I'll just do it this way. Leah, they have many different sprays to abundance, calm. Hey, Mitzi, there's just a lot of different, they have all kinds of sprays. So definitely check them out. I just use them, and if I find something I like, I'm more than willing to pass it along to people, because it just, you never know. You might find exactly what you need.
Yes. Yeah. Now when I'm cleaning and clearing a space, a lot of times I'll have a crystal bell, and do sound healing, or a singing bowl, but I like the crystal bells because you can point it in directions. So I might go through with a crystal bell and let the sound resonate. I'll be in a very meditative space myself, very receptive, and allow any divine love to flow into me and out with the sounds. Make sure you hit all the corners for sure. And then I might go through with rods of selenite and just like wave them around. Sometimes I'll even sing and dance because that makes me happy. So I might do it very privately because I don't look or sound necessarily good to anyone but me, but who cares? And then Nanette, you remember Nanette? That we used to, yeah. She's the one who taught me to, in front of all the windows and doors to a place, invite the angels to send a pure white light energy healing shower across it. So anyone who walks through a doorway is walking through this powerfully healing white light energy from the angelic realm. And
Fascinating, because I put up a violet flame on every window, door, and across anything reflective. Anything. That's pictures, TV screens, doesn't matter. Tourmaline. Ah, that's a nice one. Yeah, black tourmaline is also good for the negative energies.
yeah,
I guess it's pretty colors.
tourmaline.
Oh, I call it tourmaline. Sorry.
I know, every time.
That's my California accent.
And that's what I do. It's the tourmaline, the rock salt, the selenite, and pink quartz, rose quartz. I'll just like mix the four of them together and line all around a room.
So interesting story about like pink quartz, amethyst, the ones that get used a lot. You don't generally see it in the black stones, but you can. They start to turn this grayish at the edges. The more you use them, the color starts going out of them. And I'm not talking about because if you put some of them in the sunlight, they'll naturally bleach out. But I'm talking about you have them away from the sunlight and stuff. They'll start to get lighter and lighter. And that just means that their essence is less and less. And they do have to be rotated, changed, energized, for whatever purposes you're using it for. So people don't realize that, but yeah.
Yeah. That's one reason to put them out at the full moon, which
yes.
I'll admit, as a geology major in college, sometimes I have trouble with the crystal work we do at the same time. I also know that I have had crystals change color on me. I've had crystals grow bigger on me. I've had crystals cleave in half just for no reason other than the energy of the work. I've had crystals just crumble to dust. So
I break hematite because I'm for grounding purposes, I was using hematite, and I have to get solid pieces otherwise, because I was using the rings, and those are pretty hefty rings. I mean, they weren't thin. Oh
yeah, that's right. Leah has birds in her place.
The spray would be much better. Yeah.
And also singing with your birds for the purpose of love clearing a space. Yeah, that's something you get to do when you have a lot of birds, because they love to sing for love. So
I remember I don't remember the name of the bird, but sometimes they'll mimic you. And a friend of mine had one of those, and they would like whistle, and it would whistle back. And that was kind of cool. But it would do sounds. It would mimic sounds. It would mimic the dog barking, which was really annoying, let me tell you. Because you're like, why is the dog barking? It's a damn bird. So
is it a crow? Crows do that.
The bird was probably about this big. It wasn't a crow, because those are kind of very distinctive. It mimicked whatever it was.
Yeah, there are birds that do that. So Leah, if you have a bird that loves to sing with you and doesn't mind being carried around the house, either in a cage or, on you, in your hands, whatever, on your head, and you want to walk around together singing to the entire house, that would be, an amazing clearing. And then invite the energy to just emanate even further, especially, Leah, because you study PranaShakthi. You can bring in the PranaShakthi first and then do that. It would have Diane has a piece of selenite shatter and pop off during a reading. Yeah.
Ooh, I haven't had that.
I've not had that with selenite, but yeah. Yeah, that can definitely happen. I
just put a link in the thing for the spray. It's called Smudge and Spray, and then there's a link in there for it.
Yeah. Now, whichever, find the one that works for you. I don't like smoke, and I don't like I don't like perfume. I mean, I don't dislike perfume, but I like to, I don't want perfume to cover smells that are out there. I have a really keen sense of smell. So
You don't want to smell like a French whore?
oh yeah, I do actually. I really do. That might increase my likability on the planet. Okay. Dowsing rods.
Can you use those for house clearing?
I do.
Really?
I do.
How?
Well, just like I'll use a pendulum, actually. Now, these rods are not the type I was trained with. Okay, the type I was trained with when I was a kid on the farm is with a Y-shaped stick. And you hold the two short ends, the Y ends in your hands, and you let the stick part lead you. Now, you guys, dowsing is 100% real and legit. You go to any country and you go to the country people, you know, like what I grew up using dowsing for was finding water. Like if you're going to build a pasture, you want to make sure you set it up. You're going to put up all the fencing and everything. You got to cut down trees, split the rails, build the fences. This is a lot of woman hours of hard work. And you're not going to do it in an area that will be arid and your animals can't, you know, have good grass to eat. So the first thing you do is you get your local dowser to show up with their sticks. And local dowsers have like a bag full of their preferred sticks. They'll let you know the perfect place for the pasture. And then you put in the 1 week of hard work, 2 weeks of hard work to set up the pasture, and it will be the right spot. The same if you're going to like put in a garden, they'll let you know what's the best place to put your garden. In England, all the catering companies have dowsers on staff or to hire, because if they're going to do an outdoor event, since especially in southern England, it was once overrun by the Romans. And there are like, you can be out anywhere and you're standing on like old water lines, old this, old that, old. And if you are setting up a tent where there's going to be hundreds of people, you want to make sure it's not on something that will collapse under them, which happens in England, especially in southern England. So Amazons and, oh, good. Leah, we're going to have you on here one day and you can talk to us about your birds.
Hey, Tiffany has a question about feathers. They found some feathers that let's see, can found feathers be used to bring in angelic energies into the home?
Absolutely. Why do you think you found them?
Does depending upon the feather, will that tell you what kind of energy you need?
Your heart
if I
will
found
tell
a hawk feather instead of a turkey feather, right? Or
they're the same.
A feather's a feather.
No, hawks, turkeys, eagles, they're all power birds. So any of them that you use will be the same purpose.
Oh,
but like,
okay, they're in the same class when it looks, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then going back to
your heart will tell you.
Okay.
Your heart will tell you what it's, you know, like a small yellow bird and a vulture or an eagle feather, they'll have a different resonance.
Well, yeah, because they're different types of bird. I mean, but one, I don't see the small yellow bird being a serious predator like a hawk, right?
No.
I see it a small predator because it's looking for small things to eat, right? Not like the hawk where it's going to take anything that's smaller than it, right? So that's
this, like a small yellow bird would be for working with earth magic, something beautiful, fairies, sprites, little animals of nature. It would not be for like calling in the gods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back to Diane's question about the selenite shattering and popping off a small piece, because selenite is it's a fairly hard stone. I mean, it's not like you put water on it and it falls apart. So, I mean, I bet it's not.
Well, it's one directional cleavage. So it's like celery shattering. That doesn't really happen because you've got all those fronds going in one direction. Like for a quartz to shatter, the energy may make that happen because the quartz is, like multi-directional cleavage. So cubes of it, chunks of it, it might be 4-directional, 6-directional, chunks of it might be exploded out from the energy. But for selenite, that's like a stick of asparagus. It's just like lines going through, held together by rock. That's something. Happy New Year.
I'm not showing anymore. But so let me ask, Diane, have you ever had selenite explode or cleave before or after that, or was that a one-time event? Because I'm wondering if she has the energy to actually do it. While she's doing something, right?
But selenite cleaving would be like from top to bottom or a big long chunk, because that cleaving goes with the line of cleavage. Exploding would go like against or not necessarily with the line of cleavage, like as though you put an explosive in there and a chunk blew off. So those would be two very different energy frequencies.
Right. Okay. So I guess then the question would be, when it came apart, did it come apart clean, or was it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Did a chunk blast off?
Not smooth, right? Like it all,
right.
I can't think of the word.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I keep seeing it, and that's why it's like, okay, we'll address this.
Yeah, and it could well be like, I would think with selenite, if it comes apart with the cleavage, like the long rod splits in two, and they still are like equal length, that may mean that a lot of energy was coming through and it was more than this could handle. But if a chunk blasted off, then I would think that stone was protecting you from something, and it took the full force of something that was meant for you.
Yeah. Or maybe the person that, like if Diane was giving the reading, maybe that small piece is for the reader, the person they're reading for.
If they're really close, maybe, but
yeah, I'm just curious because it just
I mean, I don't mean to be a Debbie Dowder on that. I don't know.
No, I have a gentleman here. He's about 6'2", wearing like a tan suit with a hat that's got a black ring around it. Very calm, he reminds me a little bit of a Zoot Suit era, the way he's carrying himself. But it's like, and he's showing me the selenite, right? So it's like, okay, we'll address it, right? We'll talk because obviously it needs to be brought up. So it's, he's not bad. He's just like, yeah.
Okay, Diane.
Yeah.
One-time event, I was having a remote reading, supposed Akashic reading. It was a small piece. My candle flickered on my end at the same time. The woman doing the reading also had a flickering candle. Wow.
Power spike.
Do you think power spike?
Yeah. Do you remember when it did go? Do you remember what you guys were talking about right before that event?
Oh, you don't need to share your personal stuff with us. But
Yes or no is fine. Sorry. Thank you.
I had some very dark energy in my house that needed to be cleared. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it got cut. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, Bonita, when stones break, doesn't it mean that it served its purpose? It
can.
Sometimes it means that it has done a service. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to throw it away. sometimes the stones want to stick around. They're like, hey, I just did this big boon for you, and because I love you. Now you're going to what? Put me in a creek? No, put me in a place of honor and like be my friend. Or sometimes it says, I need to go and return to earth, return to my people. Like I've done my, so talk with the stone.
You know,
Kim, do you automatically, like, what do you do with your stones after they?
so it depends. Like I did get some river stones and I was using it for grounding purposes. And when I was done, I put them out. At the time I had an area where I made a little garden with them. So they were out there with the garden, right? So, and they were free to do whatever they wanted. If they never wanted to work, per se, another day in my life, right? They could just sit there, you know, and do absolutely nothing. But they made the plants grow in that little area like unbelievably. So it was kind of cool. It's like, thank you so much, right?
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things I will say, because I've had lots and lots of crystals and I have way too many. Yes, this is true, but sometimes something needs to change. And I've seen this happen where I've had a crystal and I've dropped it and hasn't shattered, but there definitely was a crack. And it's like, you know, apologize, I'm sorry, you know, and try to heal it. And then when it's ready to be used again, the entity inside has changed to something else, you know, because of the crack. So it helped it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of weird how sometimes these things happen. So sometimes it's for the betterment of it.
And I have here my little box of apported crystals and sacred crystals. Oh, yeah. This pendulum, you can see the bottom is broken, and I have the broken piece there. The pendulum, when it broke, I glued it back together and it fell off, you know, like it was solid. And then we're doing some work and it fell off. And then pendulum's like, I got to retire. And I asked, well, what do you want to do? It wants to spend the rest of its time in the box surrounded by sacred crystals. So sometimes we do still work together because now it's like a very powerful pendulum, but it doesn't want to be repaired. You know, if I try to repair it, it will immediately break again at the same spot. There's no super glue that will keep that tiny tip with it.
Can you super glue crystals? I've never tried.
I did try and it rejected it. I used epoxies, I used everything.
Yeah,
and
I thought epoxy would hold. But again, it's so non-porous because, you know, those things have to have some porous in it in order for it to grab onto, and it's not, stones aren't porous like that.
I mean, I use glue when I make my crystal art. I use some glue, but this one, forget it. It's like, no, I tried this, I tried that. And because it wants to be honored in the shape it's in now.
Yeah. Well, just like, you know, you have scars, I have scars. So, you know, the stone has a scar now, right? And that selenite has a scar, and it was for, you know, a very good reason, right? So, you know, it happens. And Diane, thank you for sharing that. I've never heard a story like that, honestly, where, you know, doing a reading and that getting rid of an energy that did that. So
Crystal's saying hello to everyone. I wanted to come out for a moment.
Okay, so real quick, coming up on an hour. I know we just start talking and we lose track of time. I just look down and went, oh damn. Does anybody else have a last minute question or thought or anything? Or any topics maybe for the future? And yes, Leah, my Facebook does have a cat. I don't have them anymore, so I don't need cat food. But if you want to share it with me, absolutely.
Shattered. Yes, crystals shatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, always talk with your crystals. This crystal used to be mine for my personal work, but after it broke, then you're welcome, dear. Then now it's only for sacred work because that's the resonance it has now. And what do I have in my little spoon bending stuff? My pendulum for when I'm doing like working on others. It's very big and powerful. I made it myself in a ceremony with, but I have another pendulum that I do for my work for myself. I'm not going to mix them up. The same pendulum that goes into clear a house is not the pendulum I'll do for like sending love to my family.
Right.
What about you, Kim?
Two different uses. You know, so clear quartz you can use for just about anything, right? But as long as you put the intention and you use it, it doesn't necessarily like it when you go from like a loving thing to a protection modality all in the same moment. Now, if it's an emergency thing, completely different, right? But yeah, I'll use them for a while and then it'd be like, okay, let's use something else. And then I'll put them away for a while and just, they'll hang out and do whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, I really need this one. Let me go get it. Right. And there's times where it's like, I need to move my stones around. Right. So it's like, okay, guys, it's moving day. Right. And we move them all around and they're not in the same place anymore. And some will, put in a drawer just to hibernate for a while, because for me, I have a different relationship with crystals and stuff than most people, that they're actual to me. There's entities in there. I can see them. I gave a class at Bonita's Wellness Center, and they help you do things. There's the like everyone has totems. You get crystals. There's a reason you're drawn to that crystal. Look at it, and I bet you'll see your totems in there, or at least one of them, right? So, yeah. So I just go with however they're feeling. And, then there's also the doors, which are so much fun, which is for a whole nother time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we got to get back to the crystal class someday.
Oh, yeah.
But now we have a great question here. What plants and flowers do you recommend to attract loving energy and repel others? Now, I like that question because it's attract and repel. And I find it's more powerful to create the space that you want, and then just let anyone know, if you wish to come near this space, this is the frequency you must connect with. If you cannot connect with this frequency or even more loving, then you should go somewhere else. And because they can't come in, like if they're malevolent and they want to come into a place of love, it's hard for them. Like when I was talking about over the doorway, after clearing the space over the doorway, I'll put this like shower of angelic light just pouring down. And as soon as the people walk in, you see the difference. They don't know there's a shower of angelic love pouring upon them, but I will see them in the hallway and I'll see them as they walk through and they'll. And then there's always at any gathering 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the size, a few people who they can't get themselves to come in. They'll show up, they're in the hallway and they'll wave and then they stop. And they'll go down the hall to the bathroom and then they'll come back and they'll go down the hall to the water fountain and then they'll come back and they'll chat with someone and then they'll like pretend they got a phone call and they'll go, oh, and they'll leave. Like if they can't release whatever it is that's stopping them from receiving pure angelic love and cleansing, they don't come in. Now, sometimes these people would talk to me later and they'll say, I just so wanted to attend that program, but there was something that was just like nagging me more and more and more. And I realized I had to go home and think about my relationship with my brother, or think about, this promotion I should get, or think about like, for some reason I have this repeating pattern and I just realized now is the time to work on it. Like sometimes their inability to come through the doorway ended up being a good growth experience for them.
I'm not big in the area of plants and flowers for this, but they actually make a good point, because if you want a certain energy, you want to bring in a certain color that brings a certain energy, right? So maybe it can be both of them, right? So if you want fairy, light and airy fairy, then you want yellows, bright greens, light like pinks and stuff, very fluffy type energy. You'd get those kind of colored plants. That's about the extent. I can kill a silk plant, and not on purpose. Okay. I'm still working on that part. So I'm not really big into it, but maybe we should see if somebody has some information in this area and we can share it. Cause it's a good question, because, way back when, you always heard that thing, knock on wood, right? Well, that was to wake the wood spirits up in the spring, in the trees. So you'd knock on wood to wake the spirits up to start blooming, because spring is coming. So there has to be something, because it's a tree, it's a plant, right? It's growing, it's blooming. We need to wake you up so you'll start doing your job, so we can bring spring in. So there's something there. I just don't know what it is. So
well, there are some plants like lavender, mint, ginger. These repel the insects that we don't want, and they attract the insects we want. So I consider those to be purifying plants. They clear the energy.
I'm getting light tapping, so we're on a good subject. But like rosemary, you put rosemary at the entrances of your doors, and if you rub it when you walk in, all the negativity stays there, right? So that would be something to repel negativity, right? So I mean, yeah, there is some stuff there. It's just, what you're talking about is nature versus energetic. Yeah. Right. So not saying they don't intertwine. It's just, if it does one, it can do the other. We just don't really have a good handle on it. We should probably look into the Eastern, what's it called? Is it heraba? Help me here. Herbalism. Yes. Thank you. And maybe they might have something of, this will help increase whatever.
I plant butterfly bushes around bedroom windows and entryways. And what happens is, whenever I'm going in and out of my house, or when I'm sleeping at night, I'm surrounded by plants that bring in all the beautiful creatures that I love the most, including hummingbirds. Nice yeah. And what is the other one? Around bedrooms, I'll put nocturnal blooming flowers for two reasons. Nice. One, they put out beautiful white blossoms, and they smell wonderful, because that's how they attract the nocturnal creatures. Yeah. And those are great for sleep support and nighttime protection.
I was in Hawaii, and I was out to dinner with my partner at the time. And I didn't know anything about night blooming lilies. Lily, I knew nothing about it. So it's, night, it's Kauai. And I'm looking going, I think that flower's blooming, right? Never seen it before in my life, right? It just kept going. And sure enough, she goes, oh yeah, those are night blooming lilies. They were with the lily pads and stuff. They were from Africa. And I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty awesome, right? So that's my first experience. So
that's very cool.
So sorry, I just got a fond memory. Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
I think we need to wrap it up. It's
like
I said, half an hour.
Yeah, because I was going to run a movie tonight, but I can't quite figure out how to zoom a movie from YouTube to YouTube. And also, my family got all frowny face at me when I said, I was just going to hang out with my online friends and ignore you guys all night. So we do need to wrap it up. As Kim and I go forward doing more house clearings, just remember, whenever you see us using techniques to help a space, these are comparable to techniques you can use for clearing your environment. Play with it. Don't say, oh, they managed a demon with this technique. I can use the same technique on my cousin or my
Does
boss.
not do demons. I married one once, but I don't do demons.
Yeah, that's true. I do demons, but I'm not scared of them because my life's purpose includes helping demons return to love. So I've worked with
you.
I've done a lot of I've helped a lot of demons. They don't consider it help until afterwards. Then they're like, oh, thank you. Sorry, I tried to kill you and devour your soul. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Sorry. Feels like an Uber driver, you know?
So you guys, listen, on January 5th, 2022, we are going to do a live stream seance. You have to get tickets at bonitawoods.org. But 7 o'clock, we have a group of psychic mediums. We're all Zooming, so we're all going to be in our different places. And we're going to do a message circle. And it will be, I don't know, it's my first time doing a Zoom stream message circle, but I miss doing them. They're always interesting.
I can't talk and type. I have never been able to talk and type.
So join us January 5th. And here I'll put the link to my events. Here it is.
You know, I think you need to tell the librarians Betty White needs to show the hell up.
She needs to show up?
She needs to show up.
I would love that.
Now tell the librarians to go find her and tell her that she's got to come. Just saying. You got connections, man. If you can't make this happen, then why?
I would love to talk to her. Wow. So if we got some animal telepaths with us, because she always did advocacy for animals.
Yes, she did. She did a lot of work for advocacy for animals, which is, yeah.
So I'll see if I can get a couple of animal telepaths, animal psychics, who are also psychics, regular psychics, to join us. See what we can do.
Oh, and the confirmation is Dusty Muffin.
No, it's not.
No, really, because how else are we going to know it's actually her? Say when she comes through, say, hey, something about this, Stu, what the hell's up with Dusty Muffin? Then we know it's her. Come on, it's a great skit, guys. Gotta watch it. It's on YouTube, Saturday Night Live. It's a few years old, but it's freaking funny as hell. So is Alec Baldwin's Sweaty Balls. Check it out too.
Dusty Muffin beats Sweaty Balls any day. Okay, you guys.
They're great skits.
Have a happy New Year. Keep yourself safe.
Yes.
The Akashic librarians are coming back. And we're returning to talking with them. All the information is there at the link that I just posted. Kim and I are, we both have all our equipment. We're testing our equipment out. And so we'll be sharing more. So
we'll start ghost hunting once she gets back up this way.
I'm starting here in Florida this week. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Solos, but I mean, us running around together somewhere and explaining shit and trying not to get scared.
Yeah, like just about every day we're saying, hey, what about this haunted place? Hey, I found another haunted place. We are getting ready to go visit haunted places. And my brand new night vision video camera can live stream straight to YouTube. Allegedly.
Yeah, I love it.
All right.
All right, guys.
Have a great night, everyone.